Funky. Tech radio check.
Yo, what's good? It's your brother Breezy Brainstorm, and we here with episode 164 of the Hip Hop Riff of the Week. This week, we about to speak to The Devil in a New Dress by Kanye West on his iconic album. I can't think of the name of the album right now, but y'all can look it up. I'm flowing off the dome right now. But yeah, My Dark Twisted Fantasy, that joint. There we go. Classic album. Yeah, man, this riff is in the key of G sharp minor, and that translates to B major. But before we get into this riff, because it's a lot of fun to play, it's a solid riff. It's not just a simple loop. It is a loop, but it has some variety to it, yet it stays a loop. So it's not something that changes throughout the song. It's just a longer loop, and it's dope. It's going to give you a lot of work in the key of B major and something you can groove to for a really long time. But before we get into this riff, I'm going to need y'all to like, subscribe, check out the link in the description for all the goodies, such as the music, the merch, you know what I'm saying, the band camp if you want to support the music directly, or if you just want to show some love with the Cash App and PayPal, that's all there too. I appreciate everyone who's been showing love and sending love as well. So we're going to get right into this riff once y'all check out the links, like and subscribe, and we're going to continue with this vibe. Bet. So, as I said, this riff is in the key of G sharp minor. You can also think of it as in the key of B. The first note is E on the A string 7th fret. So we start there. There's two hammer-ons in the song. We're about to get to the first one. The first one is same fret, E string. We're hammering on B to C sharp. Now we're going to skip this string. We're going to skip the A string and go to the D string and play C sharp, which is on the 6th fret of the D string. So right now, rhythmically, we have that's where we're at right now. So finger-wise, I start E with my index finger. Luckily, there's gaps in this riff so that you can actually stop and move your hands around without like having to rush too much. It's in 80 BPM, so you do have some time. I have an index finger on the E. Now let's bring my finger up to the B and hammer on from B to C sharp. Once I do that, you got to do a swift move. Make sure that you don't hit any strings. That's going to take some time. Practice not hitting any strings and cleanly hitting this G sharp with your index finger, then use your middle finger to go back to E. So that's the fingering that I use for that first part. You do have to move with a little bit of speed to make sure like you're not going too slow and you're ringing out strings you're not using. So now we're back at E. So that is on the 7th fret. What we're going to do is take our index finger and get to second hammer on popping. It goes to the 4th fret of the G string. And that's B, hammer on the C sharp. It's just an octave higher from this. The B sharp, B, the C sharp that we did previously. So index finger for 4th fret, and then we hammer it on to C sharp. Then we go back down the B, then we use our ring finger to hit the G sharp again. So what I like to do is, and that was E by the way, once I put my ring finger on the G sharp, I just also use that finger to go back to E. So I go. You might want to take some time to make that motion smooth if that's how you prefer to get there, but that's what worked best for me. Now that we have our E, we're just going to go down a half step to D sharp. I use my middle finger. Sometimes when I'm in motion, I just use my ring finger. I'm on my ring finger on the E. I use my index finger. Why? Because that's D sharp. Then I use my ring finger to hit the fifth, which is A sharp on the D string, 8th fret. Now we're going to do another shift, not a hammer on, just a shift. You see my ring finger is on A sharp. Now we're going to roll it over to the octave D sharp. But get ready, because you're going to need to bring your hand over to get your index finger on the same fret, the 8th fret. Roll it back up to A sharp, back down to D sharp. Now, this is where it gets tricky as far as naming conventions goes. This is D sharp. This is E sharp. And this is F sharp. Now, we know E is the note that's in the key of B major and G sharp minor, but that's how this riff goes. So this would be D sharp. This would be in key because that's our E, but the riff goes, and since E is already in the key and it's a sharp form of a note that's already in the key, and F sharp is already in the key, the E is what's sharp, so it's E sharp, even though it's actually F. I shouldn't even said that, because that gets confusing for people who are still dipping and dabbing in the theory, but it's technically D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. And once you hit that, go back to this low D sharp and go up a half step back to E. So that's essentially the riff. The second time it goes around, it's a turnaround to get back home. So let's go through what we've learned so far. That's the first part of the riff. Now we'll go through the same thing again, and I'll just teach you the second part, which is much simpler, and it shows you that it really does boil down to G sharp minor. So let's play that one more time. E, B, hammer on the C sharp, back to B, G sharp, E, B to C sharp, hammer on, back to B, G sharp, E, D sharp, A sharp, D sharp, okay, we'll stop here when we get to the D sharp, then the A sharp. Then you want to go hit that D sharp again, but you're not doing that extra that goes further up the fretboard. You go, use your index finger. I use my ring finger for that, since it was just simply root 5th octave. Then use my index finger to go up to the G, well, down to the G sharp on the E string, the A sharp, to B, that's G sharp, A sharp, to B, to D sharp. Then you're up a half step back to E. Then you just run it all over again. there you have it. We found that devil in a new dress by Kanye West. It's your brother Breezy Brainstorm. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for continuously subscribing, showing love, leaving comments, requesting riffs. Use the link in the description also to request a riff you want me to do and all that jazz and showing love. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
Talking now.